The following video was recorded by Morgan just days after she lost one of her closest friends. They weren't just casual friends, they spoke every day, shared routines, inside jokes, and even morning workouts together. When Morgan got the call that her friend had passed, she says it didn't feel real. For days, she moved through her house in a fog, expecting her phone to light up with a message that would never come. The truth is, grief does strange things to the mind. A few days later, Morgan began hearing a voice that resembled her friend's. At first, she convinced herself it was part of mourning, the brain reaching for what it misses most. But then doors started opening on their own. Objects her friend loved, and things that had sentimental value began shifting slightly from where Morgan remembered placing them. One morning, she clearly heard her friend's voice again. This time, as she grabbed her phone to record, the whispering stopped, but she caught something else. The door to the room opens by itself, and that's the room where her friend used to do her morning workouts. Morgan was home alone that morning, so who opened it? After people she confided in blamed everything on grief, she decided to install security cameras. Then, one night, this happened. One of the stools moves, and if you look closely, you can see the reflection of light from the door flicker. Morgan later explains that this exact stool was her friend's favorite. She was particular about it to the extent that if someone sat on it while the other stool was empty, she'd jokingly complain. Now, the speculation splits in two directions. One possibility. If you believe in after-death communication, some say spirits manipulate familiar objects, things tied to shared memories, as a way of saying, "I'm still here." The other possibility is darker. Paranormal researchers often warn that intense grief can make someone emotionally vulnerable. If there is something in the house, it may not be her friend at all, but something mimicking her voice, using personal details to gain attention. Have you ever experienced something unusual after losing someone? And how did you handle it? Your advice might be helpful. In this next video, two sisters are home alone inside their bedroom when their house alarm suddenly goes off.
I'm recording. Wait. Do you hear that? Can you check the security footage?
The security app shows the front door wide open, as if someone has just walked in. Naturally, they assume it's a break-in, but when they replay the exact moment the door opens, there's no one there. To make things worse, a police siren can be heard outside around the same time, adding to the panic. But that was not all that happened.
What is it?
They hear their bedroom door open. Convinced someone is inside the house, they make a split-second decision to escape through the window. After the footage spread, many viewers blamed the wind, but the sisters posted another clip explaining why that theory doesn't hold.
Wondering that maybe the door was the wind, but clearly, as you can tell, you have to kind of force down to close it fully. And there's just so much space between, don't mind. There's kind of like a huge distance, so there's no way the wind could have gotten that.
After explaining the door situation, they showed what completely changed their perspective. A moment captured on camera that made them question everything they thought they knew about that day. Take a look. A small, shadowy figure dashes past the camera. It moves incredibly fast, too fast to clearly define. There are no visible features, no clear arms, legs, or face, just a dark mass that crosses the frame and disappears. And if you look closely, the motion camera seems to adjust, almost like it's tracking something moving freely through the house. The sisters say this is a new build, not an old property with some long-forgotten history. So the typical house history explanation wasn't even on their radar, but the sequence is what unsettles them most. The front door opening first, then the bedroom door, then the shadow figure appearing inside. They believe something forced its way in, and that raises an earlier question. If something unseen opened the front door, could it have also opened the bedroom door? Skeptics might argue camera glitches, motion blur, pressure differences in the house, or even a small animal moving quickly past the lens. Security cameras, especially in low light, can distort shapes and exaggerate speed, but the sequence of events, alarm, door opening, bedroom door moving, shadow figure, happening back to back is what unsettles most viewers. So what do you think? A chain of coincidences and technical quirks? Or something that entered that house and moved through it freely? Now, in this next clip, a viral video captures something strange happening in a garden. Have a look.
कितने सेकंड का वीडियो है? 15 सेकंड 16। चलो ठीक है, हम देख रहे हैं। 20 सेकंड हो गए। आराम से।
This isn't a powered unit, it's manually operated so we can rule out mechanical automation. The next obvious explanation would be wind. But here's the issue. None of the other equipment around it is moving. The nearby machines remain completely still. If strong gusts were responsible, you'd expect at least some movement in surrounding objects. Yet, only this one machine rocks back and forth. Some believe objects that require physical interaction, especially those designed for repetitive motion, are easier for unseen forces to manipulate. In alleged cases of poltergeist activity, it's common to hear about chairs rocking, swings moving, or gym equipment shifting without anyone present. Others go further and speculate it could be the spirit of someone who once used that machine often, returning to a routine they performed countless times. Another theory is residual energy. If this garden space is frequently used for exercise, some paranormal researchers argue that repetitive human motion can somehow imprint onto an environment, replaying under the right conditions, almost like an echo of past activity. Of course, skeptics might suggest subtle structural imbalance, worn resistance joints, or even gravity combined with a slight incline causing delayed motion. But the fact that it continues to move, without visible contact, is what makes the clip so unsettling. For now, what moved that machine remains a mystery. The following video was captured by a Ring camera inside a woman's garage. One weekend, after cleaning the house, she and her daughter were about to head out. As they were leaving, she received a notification on her phone, motion detected in the garage. What the camera caught was absolutely shocking. Watch closely. If you focus near the shelves, right there, you can see what appears to be a faint, human-like shape moving across the frame. It doesn't look solid, but it's almost translucent, and the movement is subtle but deliberate. According to the woman, she had recently been thinking a lot about her sister, who passed away several years ago. She believes this could be her sister visiting, especially since the garage was a space they both used often when she was alive. From a paranormal perspective, many people believe spirits may appear during emotionally significant periods, especially when someone is grieving, reminiscing, or going through change. Some say these manifestations are brief and non-threatening, more like a quiet, "I'm still here," than especially if they're drawn to someone who is vulnerable. So what do you think? A sister stopping by in the only way she can? Something dangerous, or a trick of light caught at just the right angle? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. This time, he's inside Fred's old bedroom, the former owner of the house, and he's attempting to communicate with whatever presence people believe still lingers there. Watch.
Fred, if you do not want me here, could you let me know somehow? Is there anything you can tell me about the afterlife?
Whoa, dude. Oh my god, dude. Okay, I heard a voice there, and it sounded like a male voice. He just spoke. I heard prayers. Say your prayers? That's all I think what it sounded like. I asked about the afterlife. He said, say your prayers. Oh my goodness, dude. That's actually kind of wild. That's a wild response. I'm listening to that again. Dude, he said something at the end too. What the heck was that? He said, say your prayers, and then something at the end there. Oh, dude, that's really interesting. Because that's like literally what I asked about. I was asked about what the afterlife is. Is he telling us to say our prayers? Telling me to say my prayers? Is that a threat? Oh my gosh, dude.
At first, Ian struggles to make sense of what he just heard, but then this happens.
Dude, are you talking? Are you talking out there? Is someone here? Hello? What is that? Is that like a TV? Is there like a TV on up here? I'm hearing like talking. Oh, dude, I'm terrified. I am actually like really freaked out. It's like a sermon. I hear like a sermon. Oh God. Oh God. No. No way. Dude. Okay. I feel like I'm in a freaking horror film right now. How could that happen? That thing, I haven't heard that all night. Dude, he is literally listening to a sermon right now.
I love to watch what he does with his kids.
A radio inside the room suddenly turns on by itself. Not only that, it begins playing a religious sermon. Ian says there was no timer set, no visible interaction, and no reason for the device to activate on its own. For him, the timing felt intentional. He believes Fred's spirit may have been present, peacefully listening to something familiar, perhaps something he often tuned into while alive. From a paranormal viewpoint, electrical manipulation is one of the most commonly reported signs during investigations. Radios, TVS, and lights are often said to be easier for spirits to influence because they already run on energy. If that's the case, the sermon playing at that exact moment could be seen as meaningful, especially if Fred was known to be religious. So, was it a coincidence? A mechanical malfunction at the perfect dramatic moment? Or something intelligent responding in the only way it could? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following clip, a family went to check out an apartment they were considering renting, but within minutes of stepping inside, something happened that none of them could explain. Watch this.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm scared of that. That's why I walked it.
Bubby, you stay with us.
I'm going down. Who's that? Who's that?
Ooh, it's purple.
You want this room, Sally?
It's Harry Potter themed.
Asides the fact that an unidentified voice suddenly whispered Jadis, viewers quickly pointed out something else that seems far more disturbing. There's a particular corner of the house that gave almost everyone watching the same unsettling feeling. It's the kind of spot that looks normal at first, but the longer you stare at it, the heavier it feels. Some viewers claim they could see faint, human-shaped figures shifting in the shadows. Others said that even through a screen, the corner looked wrong, almost like someone, or something, was standing there quietly, waiting for them to step closer. And then there's the little boy. The moment he said he was scared, a lot of people took that seriously, not because he sounded dramatic or confused, but because children are known to be extremely sensitive to things adults can't perceive. So, between the mysterious voice calling out a name, the strange corner that unsettled so many viewers, and the child's immediate reaction, many believe the family got all the signs they needed. Whether they listened or not, though, that's something everyone is still waiting to know. In this next clip, a family who had been dealing with several nights of unexplained knocking finally made the mistake that so many paranormal experts warn people about. They opened the door. They didn't see anyone there, no footsteps, no cars parked outside, but ever since that moment, their normal days have looked nothing like normal. Watch this. First, you see the chair rocking, as if something was sitting there and deliberately trying to be noticed. But the moment the man reached out to stop it, something else in the room reacted. Like whatever was inside that house was saying, if you stop me here, I'll just move somewhere else. And this is the exact pattern people online pointed out. Every time they try to interfere with one activity, another one starts up right behind them. It's like the presence in that house is trying to show dominance over the entire space. And judging by how effortlessly these objects move, and how quickly the activity escalates, whatever this is, it doesn't seem ready to leave anytime soon. On March 8th, 2023, Casey Lee was home with her family when her son suddenly ran out of the hallway, trying to get his dad's attention. He kept pointing, insisting that his father had to come see something. Watch.
This snack will go international. International. That looks good though, dude. We gotta try that. Alright, start this video. Break the ice. We're gonna break the rice. Slow down, this isn't rice. Oh, no, that's fake. Oh, that's insane. Boy, this amazing! Wow! Okay, let's go! That's amazing. That feels so trippy too. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, you're righteous. Yeah. Down your oil. But I can't grab all these. I'm doing it. What? Oh, yeah. No. That's so satisfying. Yeah, that is. I like it.
A ghost?
A ghost? That looks amazing. Where? That took.
Fuck that shit.
Look
at who?
at ghost.
What ghost?
There.
Oh, what's that?
Go get him.
No.
What does the ghost look like?
What's that?
Like that? Where is he?
In there.
And where?
In there.
Here?
Uh-huh.
Further? Is he here? In front of me? Over there? Where? Which way?
No, in there.
In that room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going in there.
Why go see?
No, I don't know. Yeah, maybe you do whatever you want, bud. Want me to turn the light on in the hallway?
Come in there.
Huh?
No, go in there.
There's no ghost in there? Not anymore because the light's on? Someone's going in there? It's a ghost? Is it a nice ghost? Friendly ghost? Oh, do what? Am I fighting it? Fight it?
Go.
I think we're good. Is it a big ghost or a little ghost?
Big ghost.
A big ghost?
Yeah.
Is it a boy ghost or a girl ghost?
Big ghost.
Big ghost.
In there.
We're almost there.
The boy was way too focused for them not to take him seriously, and according to Casey, this isn't the first time he's claimed to see something that no one else noticed at first. One example she gave was from a few months earlier, when he told her there was someone sitting by the shoe rack. They brushed it off as imagination, until the motion-activated light by the rack flicked on by itself, followed by the sound of something shifting across the tiles, exactly where he had pointed. After that moment, they learned to stop doubting him so quickly, which is why this latest incident is starting to bother them more than they expected. Casey says that the very next day after this clip was recorded, both of their dogs started barking ferociously at the same corner of the house, right at the end of the hallway where her son kept staring. Whatever her son saw, the animals definitely sensed it too, but until Casey shares more updates, this case remains completely unsolved. Now, in this next clip, TJ has recently adopted a deep fascination for haunted dolls, and over the past year, she's slowly built an entire collection, each doll with its own energy, history, and personality. Every now and then, she documents her new life living with these dolls, and although many people follow her page out of curiosity, most didn't expect her newest update to be this unsettling. Watch.
What's going on down there?
This clip quickly caught the attention of other collectors who started asking, how long did it take for her dolls to get comfortable enough to do this? They explained that many of their dolls stay completely silent for months, sometimes years, and that the quiet ones often make them the most nervous, because spirits that stay still for too long usually do so while observing the environment, adjusting, and waiting. To answer everyone's question, TJ gave a detailed response. Honestly, over a year. I had to really build a close relationship with them to get the activity I'm getting now. It was definitely not always this high. Things only started picking up when they felt like they knew me well. Her comment opened up another wave of debates. For now though, TJ insists she's comfortable with her dolls and isn't afraid, but viewers can't help but wonder if that's because she truly feels safe, or because whatever's attached to those dolls has already settled in more deeply than she realizes. In the following video, we have a man who claims he lives in a haunted house. And after months of documenting the activity, viewers finally trace the cause back to an African mask hanging in his home. But like most people who have already grown attached to something they own, he's been in complete denial. Friends have told him to get rid of it, viewers have begged him, but he always brushed it off, until things escalated way beyond the point of coincidence. Watch. First, it was a single loud bang. Then the wind chime swayed, and seconds later, the cupboard door slammed shut on its own. Everything seemed connected, almost as if something was moving through the house in a straight line, starting with the bang, triggering the chime, and ending with the kitchen cupboard. But what really convinced viewers that this has nothing to do with the house and everything to do with the mask was what happened next. Because the activity didn't stop at harmless noise, it grew aggressive. Watch this. The knife flew off and almost landed directly on his leg. And that wasn't the only incident. He's been waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. to scratching sounds on the walls, footsteps pacing around his bed, and sudden drops in temperature that make the room feel freezing cold. People in the comments use this as the final push to warn him again. It's the mask, take it down, remove it from your home before something even more dangerous happens. And after everything he's experienced, especially now that he's getting hurt, hopefully this time he finally believes them. Now, in this next clip, we're looking at one of the most unsettling situations a young family has ever had to deal with. For weeks, they've been reporting strange disturbances happening only at night. Small things at first. Toys turning themselves on, footsteps in the hallway when everyone was asleep, and the baby monitor picking up faint whispers that definitely weren't coming from the parents. But recently, something changed, and whatever is happening now seems to be focused on their daughter. Every night, right after they put her to bed, she does the strangest thing. Watch this. You can hear the little girl, who is supposed to be fast asleep by this time, suddenly laughing in this almost diabolical, unsettling tone. And the way she stares, her eyes reflecting the infrared light like she's locked onto something none of us can see. That alone had viewers saying this doesn't look like normal sleep behavior at all. Some parents in the comments said this reminded them of episodes their kids had during extreme night terrors, but others are convinced this goes way beyond that. Now the parents are completely torn. They're not sure if they should call a priest, bring in a paranormal team, or just pack up and leave the house entirely. But with how quickly these episodes are escalating, doing nothing doesn't seem like an option anymore. What do you think they should do? Because whatever this is, it definitely isn't normal. Now, in this next clip, a man falls asleep with his bedroom light completely turned off, only to open his eyes around 1 a.m. and see that it's suddenly on. Watch.
Es la 1 de la mañana, acaban de prender la luz de la sala. Desde que compré ese espejo están pasando todas las cosas raras. A la madre. ¿Qué fue eso? Eso se está saliendo de control ya.
According to him, ever since he brought this toy home, this exact one right here, things inside his apartment have not been the same. At first, it was small things, a faint tapping in the hallway, soft creaks from the living room floorboards even though no one was out there. But with every passing night, the activity grew darker. He says he now wakes up almost every night to strange noises that seem to move from one room to another, like footsteps pacing in slow circles. And twice, something tried to forcefully twist his doorknob while he was sleeping, not gently, not like a draft, but with the kind of pressure you'd expect from someone trying to get in. Even his cat, usually calm and curious, refuses to go near the toy. Instead, it'll sit in the doorway with its ears pinned back, staring into the darkness as if watching something move that he cannot see. And on the nights when the activity is strongest, the cat becomes restless, pacing from wall to wall, growling low under its breath. People in the comments were quick to say the same thing. Be careful what you bring into your home. Sometimes it's not the object itself, but whatever might already be attached to it. And in his case, it's starting to look like he didn't bring home a toy at all. He brought home something that doesn't want to leave. In the following video, a student from the Philippines found herself trapped inside a classroom in the university's ophthalmology building, one of the oldest sections of the entire school and a place many students already claim has a strange atmosphere. According to her, she had stayed behind after hours to finish an assignment when she suddenly realized she couldn't get out. Watch.
Hindi ko alam kung magsisend to, pero kanina pa ako nandito. Walang pintong bumubukas at may topak ata tong phone ko. Pag tinatry ko siyang buksan, yung mga pinto, hindi naman siya nakalock, pero ayaw niyang bumukas. Eto, tignan niyo. Parang may humihila sa kabilang dulo. Please, kung makita niyo to, ako si Maxine Kayapado ng MMA 201. Nandito ako sa C401 at nasa tapat ako ng...
She explained that the doors were not locked. They simply wouldn't open, as if something on the other side was gripping the handle and refusing to let go. The more she pulled, the heavier it felt, almost like she was fighting with an invisible force. And right when she started recording a video to show exactly where she was, hoping someone would come help her, that's when the door suddenly swung open on its own. To this day, no one can say for sure what actually happened in that room, and this video remains a mystery. The following clip is about a family we've talked about on this channel before, and if you remember their story, then you already know things got pretty unsettling the first time around. Here's a quick rundown. It all began on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. It went on for several nights until the father finally decided to check. And the moment he opened that door, there was a figure standing right outside. After that encounter, the knocking stopped, but the house wasn't the same. Strange movements, electronics acting up, little things happening that didn't feel like coincidences. They prayed, they waited, and after a few months, the house finally settled. No knocking, no shadows, no disturbances. For a while, it seemed like whatever had shown up that night had moved on. But now, months later, the pattern seems to be starting all over again. Watch this.
Vente. Le están tocando.
Sí. La niña empezó a llorar.
Ya no haga mucho ruido para ver quién es. No prendas. ¿Cómo rápido? Está bien inquieta, ¿verdad? Ya son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Dónde están las llaves? Hoy. No se ve. Voy a abrirlo. Ahí quédate, espérame. No hay nadie. No hay nadie. No, uy, otra vez. Así menos. ¿Quién será? No es nadie, Ceci. Yo creo que ya nos subimos a dormir. Ya. Vámonos. Vámonos porque igual le voy a enseñar la hora. Siempre pasa lo mismo. Miren. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. 25. Siempre hace lo mismo, ¿verdad? Sí. Ya vamos a... Voy a cerrar otra vez.
This time, they knew better than to open the door. They didn't want to repeat the same mistake, but one night, while his wife was trying to put their baby girl to sleep, the house security camera picked up something they never expected to see. Watch this.
Sí, mira, quiero que observes bien este video y me digas qué te parece. Puede ser cualquier cosa, pudo ser una persona, pero realmente con seguridad no te sé qué decir. Observa los movimientos de mi hija de 4 meses, cómo ya está casi dormida y ahorita en un ratito como que se altera. El video no tiene audio, así que por eso se lo estoy relatando. Vean ahí cómo se alteró mi hija y ve directamente hacia el portón. Miren, ahí está observando, ahí se asomó algo. Vean eso. Vean lo extraño que el color de piel que tiene eso, vean. Y mi hija ahí está alterada y si se dan cuenta, no deja de mirar hacia el portón. Vean, mi hija está mirándolo. Ahí se volteó y eso se desvaneció. Bastante extraño.
If you take a good look at the footage, the little girl is completely calm at first, just resting, until something shifts. Out of nowhere, she gets upset and she starts crying, like she's reacting to something we can't see. And if you look at the door, a faint figure seems to be peeking inside. The father said he couldn't place the shape at all, and what made it worse is that he never saw anything walk away. 1 second the figure was there, and the next, it wasn't. No footsteps, no movement, no shadows trailing off. Just there, then gone. And with everything they've experienced before, people began to wonder if this was the same presence that stood outside their door months ago, or if something completely new had entered the picture. Then, around 2 a.m., their daughter started crying again. But this time, it wasn't the knocking, it was something far worse. Proof that whatever they'd been dealing with wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the house. Have a look.
No digas mamadas. No. ¿Qué dijo? ¿Eh? ¿Qué dijo? No mames, güey. Se me va a apagar. Está hablando. No, güey. No, la verga. No mames, no chingues. Se puso feo. Raza. Se puso feo, les dije. No mames, güey.
It didn't take long before the knocking returned too, and when it came back, it wasn't random or occasional anymore. It happened every single night, like something determined, something trying to wear them down. Imagine living with that, knowing it's coming, knowing you can't stop it, and counting down the seconds until it starts again. Eventually, even though he knew exactly what happened the last time, he started opening doors, but only the doors inside. And what happened next felt like going from bad to something much worse, almost like stepping out of the frying pan and straight into the fire. Watch.
No sé si se escuche. Oigan, como si estuvieran en la parte de enfrente. No mames. Son las 2 de la mañana. Uy, cabrón. Voy a buscar las llaves. No mames, está acá enfrente, ¿eh? Uy. Okay, como que... No mames. Ah, cabrón. No mames, cabrón.
The activities in the house escalated after that night, but this time the knocking didn't stop. And you know what they say. When the knocking refuses to end, it usually means whatever is outside isn't trying to leave, it's trying to come in. And in situations like this, people believe persistent knocking is a sign that the presence has grown stronger, more intentional, almost desperate for access. It got so bad that it began waking the entire family every single night. At this point, they started to believe that not opening the main door wasn't protecting them from anything, because strange things were still happening inside the house even on nights they kept the door shut. But at least if they open it, the knocking would stop for a few hours, just enough peace to reach the morning. So reluctantly, they fell into a routine. Every time the knocking returned, the father would open the door just to make it stop, until one night he walked toward the entrance expecting the same pattern, but instead saw something deeply unsettling. Watch this.
Johnny, están tocando.
¿Ah?
Están tocando.
¿Quién es?
Nadie,
¿Están tocando?
Sí.
Ah, sí, no manches.
Escucha.
Otra vez, güey, a ver. Dame, a ver, aguanta. Espérame aquí, aguántame. Otra vez. Son las 3 de la mañana, gente. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Deja de molestar. Quiero que te largues. ¿Qué es eso? Oh, no manches. Oh, no manches. Ceci.
This wasn't a neighbor, this wasn't a prank. What he saw looked dark and full of intent, the kind of thing that doesn't accidentally show up at your door. And when you connect this moment to everything else, the figure peeking inside the house, the child crying at unseen things, the sudden electronic malfunctions, the rocking chair moving on its own, the doll moving, it all begins to feel like one presence that finally revealed its true form. Now the family is actively seeking help from anyone who can make sense of all this. But while they search for answers, the knocking hasn't stopped. They still open the door sometimes, but now with extreme caution, because they never know what might be standing there.
Mira. Y el chiquito no.
Mira, no mames.
¡Vámonos de esa casa!
Ya, yo voy grabando.
Tranquila. ¿Quién anda ahí?
To make matters worse, the electricity in the house hasn't been the same since the night they saw that strange figure. Lights flicker, appliances glitch, and even their older kid is getting tired of living in a place that feels more haunted with every passing night. In the next clip they posted, things took a turn none of them were prepared for. What used to happen strictly at night, the knocking, the footsteps, the strange movements, suddenly began happening in broad daylight. Objects would shift from one spot to another, heavy thudding footsteps, as if someone unseen was walking up the stairs, and random items in the house kept going missing only to reappear in odd places. Then one afternoon, the father captured something on camera that left both viewers and investigators genuinely alarmed. Watch this.
¿Estás escuchando?
Sí.
Vente. Son las 2 de la tarde, se está manifestando algo. Tengo que decir que no hay nadie. Estoy completamente solo. No manches. Se acaba de abrir la puerta del cuarto. Este cuarto, pues nadie lo habita. Estoy solamente con mi hijo de 8 años. Vente, Neto, no te quedes. Se vio claramente cómo se abrió la puerta sola y no hay ni viento. De hecho, está cerrada la ventana, todo está cerrado. No, Neto. Vámonos.
Even with every window shut and all doors locked, one door slowly opened on its own, like someone on the inside had gently pushed it. Many believe this was a sign the presence inside the home has grown comfortable, too comfortable, almost as if it no longer cares to hide its movements. Others think letting it in that very first night might have given it access it never should have had, and now it's roaming the entire house freely, crossing boundaries it once respected. And things have only gotten worse night after night. The family is so desperate that viewers have sent their clips to paranormal experts, hoping someone can offer answers or at least a solution to stop the constant fear they're living in. But while they wait for help, every day and every night brings a new disturbance. One night, it sounded like someone was in the kitchen, loud enough that the husband thought an intruder might have broken in. But when he went to check, this is what he found.
Oye, voy a ir a bajar,
Sí, va a ver, ve a checar qué es.
Voy a ver, ahí quédate con la niña.
Sí.
Hasta se despertó, ¿va?
Sí.
No hay nadie. Por lo regular siempre se escucha como si hubiera alguien ahí en la cocina. Se escuchaba que estaban jugando con los trastes, como si estuvieran botando cosas, así bastante fuerte. Lo primero que pensé es que se habían metido a la casa. Mierda. ¿Qué hacen esos sartenes botados? Mira. Empieza a sentir un escalofrío en esta parte bastante fuerte. Voy a levantar esto. Miren cómo estaba colgado esto. Ay. ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Lárgate de aquí. ¿Por qué nos molestas? Oh, madre de Dios. ¿Qué es eso que se escucha? Lárgate de aquí. No mames. Hey, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Sea lo que sea, no perteneces aquí. Lárgate. Necesitamos ayuda, por favor. Esto se está saliendo de control, amigos. ¿Qué es eso?
Pans scattered all across the floor, and before he could even finish placing them back, something else happened. Sudden, sharp, and terrifying. Almost like the presence wanted to make sure he knew he wasn't alone in that kitchen. At this point, whatever is haunting this home is no longer subtle, no longer shy, no longer hiding in the shadows. It's active, bold, and possibly growing stronger. And before this turns into something violent, the family is pleading for help, hoping someone can intervene before things get even worse. Now, in this next clip, the popular ghost hunter Ian went deep into the Minnesota woods, and on this particular night, he was making his way toward an isolated cemetery rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the entire region. He was completely alone out there, and even he admitted that he was starting to freak out.
Okay. I'm coming towards you, whoever you are. I hear somebody walking up and down this trail. Could you walk towards me? Oh my God! Holy shit! Oh my God! I'm sorry. You almost gave me a heart attack. I know I asked you to do that, but damn! Holy moly, I didn't think you were gonna actually do it.
Vicksburg Cemetery sat hidden in the wilderness, untouched, overgrown, and swallowed by trees. Local legend claimed that one gravestone in particular would glow at night, and that every spring it sprouted fresh flowers that dripped what looked like blood. It was the kind of place that felt unsettling even in daylight. And yet, because it was Ian, he chose to spend the entire night there anyway. The place had the kind of heavy stillness you'd expect from a cemetery buried deep in the woods, but as he walked around with his flashlight sweeping through the darkness, he saw something that stopped him. One entire grave had been left in total shambles. Stone cracked apart, soil disturbed, like something had forced its way out or clawed its way in. And in typical Ian fashion, instead of backing away, he tried communicating with whatever spirit might still be lingering there.
Gosh. This whole grave is in shambles. I'm sorry that your tombstone has been destroyed. What happened? Is it vandalized? Whoa. Okay, I just heard you.
At this moment, a woman's whisper intelligently responds to my question.
In my left hand, I have a green light. It won't harm you in any way. All it will simply do is detect your presence. If you're still here, could you tell me your name? Because unfortunately, there's really no way for me to tell. I really don't want to dig around your grave shambles, because I don't want to damage it any further. You don't have to be shy, ma'am. As I said, I'm just here to visit. I'm here with nothing but respect. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes right now, but that's okay. It's worth it. If I could just hear your voice one more time. Whoa. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I heard that. I heard you once again. Whoa, you just drained my battery too. Dang, dude. All right. I'm gonna review this when I get home, and I'll know your message.
Later, after reviewing his footage, he realized that the voice captured on camera sounded like it was saying the word foreign. That one detail bothered him enough to dig deeper, and when he researched the grave, he found out it belonged to a woman named Vesta Black Davis. buried alone with no family members anywhere near her. A sad and lonely revelation, but it raised an even darker question. If no one visited her and no one cared for the site, then why was her grave the only one shattered? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was recorded by Francisco, a man who works at the Gallup Indian Medical Center, a place known for late-night emergencies, long quiet hallways, and the kind of unexplained noises staff usually try not to think too much about. Things fall on their own sometimes. Doors close when no one's around, and workers have shared stories of hearing footsteps long after the wards are empty. And on this particular evening, Francisco had his own experience. He was the only person left at work around 5 p.m. when he started hearing things.
And I'm just recording because I don't know who it could be or anyone's here. It's just me here. It's like 5 o'clock and nobody's here and I'm the only one here ready to leave. Hello? 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 It's crazy because there's nobody here. Hello? 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 Where is it coming from? There's nobody. I don't know where that noise is coming from. Hello? Anybody here?
He kept walking from one section of the office to another, checking every corner, every hallway, but there was nothing. Yet the knocking continued, clear, deliberate, and according to some beliefs, when a knock happens 3 times, it's not always a person. Some say it's a way for a spirit to mimic human behavior, others believe it's a warning or a way to get someone's attention. Unsettled and unable to shake the experience, Francisco went straight to the security unit to explain what had happened. But when they pulled up the feed, no one was there. Just Francisco, and whoever or whatever wanted him to know he wasn't alone. Now Francisco is left with one question. If this happens again, what's he supposed to do? Ignore it, confront it, or leave it completely alone? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This next clip was captured around 3 a.m. by a family you might remember from a previous video on this channel, but let me give you a quick rundown so you're not lost. It all started on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. At first it seemed harmless, maybe a confused neighbor, maybe someone who had the wrong apartment, the kind of thing you brush off because you don't want to assume the worst. But it kept happening, night after night. Same soft knocking, same timing, and eventually curiosity got the best of them. One night, the father finally decided to check, and when he opened the door, there was a figure standing right outside. People who watched that first clip said the family made a huge mistake opening the door at that hour, because whatever that figure was, it's like something shifted after that moment. The knocking stopped, but other things started happening. Watch this.
Se están escuchando ruidos en la parte de abajo de la casa. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. ¿Ya vieron el sillón?
Hice mi primer dieta a los 9 años. They all love me, but they want me to lose weight. Tienen como una propia cárcel. ¿Qué pasa cuando sacan todo? ¿Qué quieres? ¿Te mata de divertirte?
Desvestida, la moda pasó de moda. Todos los domingos, 10 de la
Se estaba moviendo, lo juro por Dios.
por Star Channel.
Cada vez empeora más esto. ¿Quién anda ahí? Buenas. Estoy bastante preocupado, se escucha ahora ruidos ahí arriba. Sea lo que seas, no perteneces aquí. No sé qué quieras. Vete de aquí, por favor. ¿Quién diablos prendió la televisión? Esta tele también.
Now the TV turns on by itself at night, and the rocking chair in the living room moves on its own. Slow, steady, like someone invisible has settled into it and is gently rocking back and forth. Viewers believe whatever had been knocking might have slipped inside when the door opened, almost as if the opening itself acted like an invitation. Others think the presence had been waiting for acknowledgement, and that moment at the door was the confirmation it needed. And with the rocking, the electronics flickering and powering on, and the strange, heavy silence where the knocking used to be, a lot of people feel this might only be the beginning of something more intense in that house. But what do you think is happening here? And what exactly can a family do in a situation like this? They might just be reading the comments looking for answers. The following clip has sparked a debate among believers and skeptics, and it all centers on a woman named Sydney and her sister Gretchen, Gretch as she calls her, who rented an Airbnb for a wedding they had that weekend. Only a few minutes after settling in, Sydney stepped out to walk the dog, but when she came back inside, this is what she met.
Jesus Christ.
Great.
Touch it.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
The curtain, the balloon, and the dog's leash that suddenly flung into the air on the staircase like someone yanked it upward. Skeptics immediately jumped in, insisting it was just the wind, or maybe the house settling, but others pushed back, pointing out how each object moved, almost as if something was interacting with them. Sydney and Gretch couldn't shake the feeling that something about this place was off, but it was only their first hour in the house, and leaving right away felt like they'd be overreacting. And besides, the dog seemed calm, which most people agreed was a sign there was nothing to worry about, but soon that would change.
Okay, so this is the leash. If this moves, I'm literally going to run. There she goes again. I don't think the leash is gonna move, but she's definitely sensing something. Every single day.
With the way the dog was reacting, there's definitely something on those stairs. It wasn't the curious kind of sniffing dogs do when they pick up a new scent. This was cautious, stiff, almost like he was bracing for whatever he sensed up there. And to make matters worse, one viewer commented that she actually recognized the Airbnb because of the carpet pattern, and claimed someone had died on those exact steps. Some believe that kind of energy can linger, attaching itself to the place and replaying moments of fear. Others think trauma can open a doorway, like the house becomes a magnet for things that don't belong in this world anymore. Sydney, determined to make sense of what was going on, began quietly looking around the house, checking corners and details she'd ignored when they first arrived. That's when she discovered something that might be the missing piece to their puzzle. Watch this.
Okay, so I think I figured out why my dog just is always hanging out right here. So I just found a door back here. So I don't think that it's what's on the stairs. I think it's something that's underneath. So I tried to check, but the door is locked. Obviously it's an Airbnb, so they lock a lot of the doors up, but so yeah, I don't think that it's what's on the stairs like what I initially thought. I think it's what's below. I want to find out at this point.
Now that they'd found a locked basement under the stairs, things finally began to add up. Sydney couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was happening on those steps, whatever her dog kept sensing and pacing around, was connected to whatever was sealed behind that door. It was almost like the dog was reacting to something moving underneath them, something it could feel but they couldn't. Curious and honestly a little desperate for answers, Sydney slid her phone under the door to see what might be inside. Watch this.
So this is the switch. You guys can see the light is on right there. I wonder if
just imagine there's someone right behind the door. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god, did that just happen?
The doorknob suddenly moved, like someone was trying to open it from the inside. At that point, the ladies were terrified, their thoughts going in every direction. At first, they tried to think logically. They even wondered if someone might actually be living down there because they'd experienced something similar at another Airbnb where the host was secretly double renting rooms. But when they checked the house again and found no one there, that theory fell apart, leaving them with something much more unsettling. After taking a moment to breathe and think through what just happened, the sisters decided to try again, this time hoping to catch whatever was turning the doorknob. But something even more terrifying happened. Have a look.
Scary. Okay. Okay, every time we've knocked before, this doorknob would turn a little bit.
Something yanked the phone straight out of Sydney's hand from the basement, and when the phone landed down there was no visible person in sight. Yet the phone kept moving, almost like it was being dragged or nudged by something just out of frame. Viewers started speculating immediately. Some thought someone was hiding in the shadows. Others swore it looked like the phone was being pulled by an invisible force, the way objects shift during severe residual hauntings. They called the host, who eventually came over to unlock the basement so Sydney could retrieve her phone. But when he arrived, Sydney and her sister noticed something they couldn't ignore. Watch.
But there's no reason for me to go that way. But I'm waiting to start hearing things from coming underneath my house. That's it. I'm out of here. Going under the door. Okay, well. Door two, it's creepy.
Thank you.
The host had a tattoo of nested triangles on his right palm, and several viewers said they would bet anything that he knew more about that room than he was letting on. The symbol itself sent the comment section spiraling. Many viewers immediately recognized the symbol, saying it's associated with occult practices, protection marks, or rituals involving gateways or sealed rooms. The fact that this symbol was on his hand and the basement was locked under the stairs sent people into a frenzy. A few even suggested the tattoo might mean he tried sealing something in that basement, and that whatever it was might not be fully contained anymore. The situation worried a lot of people. Viewers kept asking for details, urging the sisters to leave the Airbnb immediately. Some even insisted they could get a refund if the host failed to disclose that someone else might also be renting the space. Eventually, Sydney responded with this update.
Okay, so I sent the video to the landlord of the Airbnb, and hold on, let me turn on the light. Okay, I sent the video to the landlord of the Airbnb asking, like, hey, is there someone else renting it out as well as us or what? Because there's a room under the stairs that we can't get into. It's locked, so I didn't know. And basically he was like, no, you guys are the only ones that are in the Airbnb right now, like booked out for the week. So okay, kind of feel relieved in a way, because I think it would be really weird and kind of creepy if there were people staying there as well that we didn't know about. But yeah, he didn't seem worried at all about it, so we'll see.
Now, Sydney is convinced they aren't dealing with a simple rental mishap. With the unexplained movement, the dog's behavior, the locked basement, the shaking doorknob, the phone being pulled, and the host's unsettling tattoo, it's getting harder and harder to deny that something else might be in that house. So what was in the basement? A spirit trying to get out? Or something trying very hard to keep others from getting in? You decide. The following video is about a lady named Savannah, who's now in serious need of help, because it's starting to look like she's living through a real-life paranormal phenomenon. For months, she's been dealing with things she can't explain. Footsteps pacing around her room late at night, objects disappearing and reappearing in different places, her closet door cracking open on its own, and the overwhelming sensation that someone is standing right beside her whenever she tries to fall asleep. But things escalated the night she swore she felt something sit on her chest while she slept. And what truly pushed her to her breaking point was when she heard something in the darkness, mimicking her voice, calling her cat. She screamed, thinking she was losing her mind. Then she eventually set up cameras. What you're about to see is a compilation from different nights, everything her camera captured. Watch.
What?
Some nights, small objects would shift and slide across the room as if nudged by invisible hands. Other nights, something would crawl underneath her blanket, pressing against her legs as she slept. There were moments where her cat would freeze, stare at the corner of the room, and suddenly jump as if something tried to pick it up. And on the worst nights, she'd wake up feeling a tight pressure around her foot, like something was slowly trying to pull her off the bed. She's already blessed her room, she's placed crosses around her apartment, she's tried cleansing, prayers, everything. But whatever is there doesn't seem to care. Now she's asking for help, because at this point, she's genuinely afraid of what might happen next. If you have any suggestions, now's the time to share. Who knows, your comment might be the solution she's been searching for. In this next clip, a paranormal investigator decided to explore an old crematorium, and after what he experienced there, he says he won't be going back anytime soon. Watch this.
This is crazy.
Crematoriums already have a chilling history. These are places where countless families said their final goodbyes. Places where bodies are prepared, tagged, and stored before the final process. And in older crematoriums, especially those that have been shut down for years, many say the air never really loses that heaviness, as if the walls themselves remember everything they've seen. Some former workers claim that late at night, before closure, they'd hear metal trays shifting on their own, or doors to the furnace room slamming despite no draft. Others swear that once a body is cremated, the spirit doesn't always follow immediately. Sometimes it lingers, confused, or attached to the place where its physical form spent its final moments. Strange noises in an abandoned building are one thing, but inside a crematorium, with that history, this is the kind of place you enter once, and then decide it's better not to return. Now, in this next video, a mother named Christy has been dealing with something that's starting to unsettle her in ways she can't explain. For days now, she's noticed a strange pattern. She'll be talking to her little boy, something simple, everyday conversations, and suddenly he'll stop mid-sentence, freeze, and stare off toward a very specific part of the house. No blinking, no reacting. Almost like he's watching something move that she can't see. At first, she brushed it off as childish distraction, saying kids zone out all the time. But it kept happening, and each time, his eyes went to the same direction. One evening, while she was prepping dinner, he did it again. Only this time, he wouldn't stop pointing toward the dining room, repeating the same thing over and over with a strange calmness that made her skin crawl. Watch this.
Where's the ghost?
Look at it.
What do you see?
I see something in a tiny room.
What is
I
it?
see something in a tiny room.
Where is it?
Perhaps. You're too rude.
I don't see it.
I'm opening it. It's perhaps. See, look. I'm opening it. You is one.
What?
You is one.
There's what?
You is.
What'd you see?
Next to my side.
What?
Next to my side on. To my side on the hat. To my side on the hat.
It's okay.
I see a vaccine pudding on a. I see a vaccine pudding in a hat.
You see what?
A vaccine pudding in a hat.
Imagine your own child saying something like that, with that kind of certainty. Christy finally took him to the dining room to figure out exactly where this thing was supposed to be. It turned out to be a picture hanging on the wall. But here's the part that's confusing her the most. That picture has been there for months. He's walked past it hundreds of times, eaten dinner right across from it, played near it. And it has never bothered him, so why now? Some people think kids are naturally more sensitive, and maybe he's suddenly picking up on something attached to the photo, an energy, a memory, or a presence that wasn't active before. Whatever the case is, something about that picture has clearly changed. And until she gets more answers, this one remains unsolved. The following video was captured outside an Argentinian hospital. A man had just finished visiting someone and was heading back to his car when he suddenly heard a loud bang. Thinking maybe someone needed help or that something had fallen, he walked toward the sound. But when he got there, the place was completely empty, so he headed back to his car. And that's when he noticed this. Watch.
Estamos en este momento en el microhospital, escuchamos un golpe y nos dimos vuelta porque dijimos, bueno, ¿quién está entrando? Cuestión de que no hay nadie atrás nuestro. Y miramos dentro del auto y dijimos, oh, pues el auto, qué mierda es. Lo peor de todo es que no queremos salir. Un miedo, la puta madre. Lo peor de todo es que se mueve adentro el auto y no hay nadie. O sea, ahora vamos a ir a controlar el auto. Pero parece como si fuese un reflejo. La puta madre. No, huevón. Ya, salimos rápido para que vean que no es mentira. Mamá, la piel de gallina, hermano. Piel de gallina. Cagazo. Nadie. Nadie. Un montón. Es un montón. Mierda. Y encima nos mira la puta que te parió. No, chavo. No. Desapareció. La concha.
The moment he saw what was sitting in the back seat, you can tell his entire body reacted. When he lifted his arm to the camera, you could literally count each hair standing straight up. That's not something you fake, that's a full body fear response. But what really got people talking were the details, especially the movement of the face. Whatever was in that car wasn't a reflection, and it definitely wasn't a person hiding inside, because he didn't even take the camera off the car until he reached for the door. And when the head suddenly ducked behind the driver's seat, yeah, reflections don't do that. Now, here's where this gets even more unsettling. This didn't happen in just any location. It happened right outside a hospital, a place where people pass on, where emotions run heavy, where many believe spirits linger the longest before moving on. So the real question is, what exactly entered that car? And why did it wait until he was alone? This one remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, a lady's dog has been acting out ever since she got a new truck. At first, she thought it was nothing. Maybe he just wasn't familiar with the sound or smell. But the more she paid attention, the more unsettling things became. Have a look.
What is it? What is it? But there's nothing over here.
After watching this clip, some people said it could be the tires. Maybe the rubber was warm, maybe the scent was strange to him. But then a different wave of comments rolled in, questions that made the whole situation feel a lot darker. People started asking whether the truck was actually new, if she knew anything about the previous owners, or if the truck had ever been involved in an accident, because dogs don't usually whine like that unless they're reacting to something they don't understand, or something we can't see. She eventually came forward with an update that surprised everyone. The truck is brand new and she's already checked underneath, inside, and around the engine for any animals or signs of something stuck. Yet, Titus still behaves like this. She also revealed that ever since she brought the truck home, Titus has never agreed to get inside, not even once, and honestly, the comments weren't helping either. People began warning her that dogs can sense what humans can't, and that her dog might be reacting to a dangerous spirit attached to the vehicle. Some even went as far as saying that if she doesn't get it blessed, she could end up in an accident. One morning, Titus wanted to check the garage again, barking and whining in a way she'd never seen before, so she followed him, camera in hand, and here's what she caught. At this point, she has no idea what she's dealing with anymore. And honestly, none of the explanations so far feel comforting. So what do you think? Is Titus reacting to the smell of the tires? Is there a spirit attached to the truck? Or is there something else we're missing? Something that ties all these events together? Now, this next video captures something most people fear more than any regular haunting: a mimic. Mimics are the type of entities people describe as intelligent, calculating, and frighteningly good at imitating the voices of people you know and trust, usually to lure you closer or get you to respond. One afternoon, a lady was home completely alone when she suddenly heard this coming from inside her house. Watch.
Are you there, honey? Open the door for mommy. Bella. Come out. Bella.
The moment people heard that voice, the comment section exploded. Not because of the sound itself, but because of the way she reacted. She didn't panic, she didn't call out, she didn't ask who's there. She stayed absolutely silent. And for good reason. Because when it comes to mimics, the #1 rule everyone repeats is, do not respond. Responding means you're already playing its game. So the fact that she stayed completely quiet is what everyone agrees might have kept this from going much further. Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his exploration at Bonanzaville, an open-air museum made up of old, fully preserved historic buildings from different eras of North Dakota. In the last video we posted, Ian entered the Telephone Museum, but this time he went to the Brass Rail Saloon in the Page Hotel, said to be one of the most active buildings on the entire property. Built in 1889, this place used to be a bustling stop for travelers. Food, liquor, music, rooms upstairs, the whole deal. But today, it's known for something else entirely. Voices that shouldn't exist, footsteps pacing empty rooms, and unexplained noises that seem to follow anyone who dares explore the second floor alone. Watch this.
Could you do that again? If there's anyone in here, I invite you to come sit with me. I just want to get to know some of the people that are here. I hear that there's a lot of spirits in this building. Could you walk up to this table and sit down with me? I mean, I didn't bring any cards or anything, but I mean, if you've got some, I don't know if you can in the afterlife, but feel free to sit on this table here. Whoa. I just heard that chair move. Holy moly.
Unfortunately, he had his infrared light pointing directly at the camera, making the chair in front of him impossible to see. But the moment he stepped out of that room, something else happened.
Is there anybody in here?
Whoa. That came from in there.
I think I might have heard somebody in here. Is there anyone in here?
Whoa. Oh my God.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not gonna run. Did you just tap on that bed?
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. That scared the living daylights out of me. Holy moly. Dude, that was a freaking voice. I heard it so clear on this voice recorder. Oh, it was a female. It was a female voice.
Ian was almost convinced there had to be someone else inside the building with him, but the footage says it all. He was completely alone, so the question is, who or what answered Ian that night? And why is her voice still echoing through a building that hasn't hosted a living guest in over a century? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video is about Nate, a man who still hasn't been able to figure out what exactly he's dealing with or how to stop it. Over time, the activity in his house has gone from unsettling to genuinely alarming. He's been waking up with unexplained scratches on his body and hears footsteps moving through the house when no one else is there. One morning, after finishing his workout and preparing breakfast, he started hearing a clicking sound. At first, he assumed it was the TV, maybe even the heat vent, but after listening more closely, he realized the sound was coming from the kitchen. It sounded exactly like a stove burner clicking, the noise it makes right before igniting. Concerned it could be a gas issue, Nate rushed into the kitchen to check, and that's when this happened. Watch.
The pan is still on the stove, still warm. All the burners are off. But I kept hearing the clicking, like the burner was trying to come on. Like I said, I just finished cooking. I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and I was hearing. And it sounded like it was... Bro. Why with the knives? Why with the knives? Why? Why with the knives?
The clicking sound alone was disturbing, because this was the first time it had ever happened. But what really pushed viewers into panic was what followed, the knife. For the fact that this wasn't the first time, many believe this moment marks a shift in whatever Nate is dealing with. Paranormal researchers often say there's a difference between passive activity, noises, footsteps, shadows, and intentional aggression. Throwing objects, especially sharp ones, is widely considered a warning sign. And the most terrifying part is that Nate hasn't figured out what to do next. So, until more updates are given, this case remains completely unsolved. This next video was captured by a home security camera. Around 2 a.m., the homeowners received a motion alert and decided to check the footage, expecting maybe an animal or someone passing by. But what they saw left them shaken. Watch. The family replayed the clips several times, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. When they were unable to come up with a logical explanation, they shared the footage with a few of their neighbors, hoping someone might recognize the figure, or at least explain why it looks so disturbingly human. The video ended up spreading, and longtime residents of the area immediately knew who, or what, the figure resembled. According to locals, the apparition looks strikingly similar to a woman who died in a car accident near that very stretch of road back in 1948. For decades, people who've lived in the area have quietly shared stories about a woman seen walking late at night, appearing briefly, then vanishing without a sound. Some believe spirits tied to sudden deaths don't realize they're gone, repeating the same path night after night. Others think certain locations become imprinted with trauma, replaying fragments of the past like a broken recording. What makes this even more unsettling is that the family who captured this footage had only recently moved in. They had no knowledge of the area's history, no stories passed down, no warnings. So for now, all anyone can hope is that appearing and disappearing in the dead of night is all she ever does. Now, in this next clip, Kyle heads down to his basement early in the morning, and this time it's nothing like what he's dealt with before. In the past, it was children giggling, soft footsteps, the sound of something small moving around. But this morning, it's loud and violent. Watch.
Footsteps all freaking night. Who's knocking on my basement door? Lock. Okay, let's go back upstairs.
When the noise stopped, Kyle opened the door and found no one there. At first, he went for the simplest explanation. Maybe someone heard him coming and ran, maybe it was a prank, or maybe there's a logical reason he just hasn't thought of yet. But that theory falls apart almost immediately. Outside, the ground is covered in fresh snow. If anyone had been down there, child or adult, there should have been footprints leading away from the house, but there were none. Whatever was by the door didn't leave the way a physical person would, or maybe it didn't need to leave in the first place, because it's in the house just changing how it manifests. Some believe this suggests the activity is evolving, because it once sounded playful, now it feels aggressive. For Kyle, this isn't just another strange moment to shrug off, it's another unanswered question in a situation that keeps escalating, and becoming harder to explain. So until more updates are shared, this one remains unsolved. In this next video, a family says they've been tormented by relentless knocking late at night. Sometimes it's light, other times it turns into aggressive banging on the front door, loud enough to send the children into tears. The father has tried everything he knows, cleansing the house, daily prayers, asking for protection, and each time it works, but only temporarily. One night they woke up again, but this time it wasn't knocking that pulled them out of sleep. Listen closely.
Sí, pero... No. Pero no es... No. Ya sabes que no es la niña, ya sabes que no es la niña, ya no va a ruido aquí. Ya sabes que no es la niña. Pues espérate. Está aquí afuera, ¿ah?
Sí, no habrá pasado algo.
No, tú tranquila, no pasó nada, es eso que nos habla. Pero no le voy a abrir. Voy a bajar. No mames, güey. Ah, cabrón. Miren, amigos, no hay nadie. Ya de madrugada y mis hijos no están, se fueron a dormir con su abuela. No hay absolutamente nadie. Escuchan los ruidos. Uy. Escuche. Yo creo que ya no es hora de estar. Se escuchó aquí. Son casi las 2 de la madrugada. Ya les mostré. No hay absolutamente nadie. Ya está todo cerrado. Está todo cerrado, yo me voy.
What immediately unsettled viewers is that the voices being heard sound like a girl, yet the kids in the house who are old enough to speak weren't even home that night. But there's another detail people couldn't ignore. In the house is a Labubu doll. While Labubu is widely known as a collectible designer toy, online forums are filled with unsettling stories tied to it. Some owners claim their dolls move slightly when no one is around. Others report unexplained knocking, whispering, or a sudden shift in atmosphere after bringing one into their home. A few even say activity escalated after prayers or cleansing, a detail that eerily mirrors this family's experience. Skeptics argue the doll is just a coincidence, a harmless object becoming a focal point because fear needs something tangible to attach to. But others believe objects don't have to cause paranormal activity to become anchors for it, especially in homes where something already seems to be present. What makes this case disturbing is the pattern. The knocking stops after cleansing, then returns, the voices mimic children who aren't there, and whatever is happening doesn't seem driven away, just temporarily pushed back. So is the doll acting as a trigger? Or is this something entirely unrelated, using familiar sounds to provoke fear? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now, this next clip was recorded inside a retirement home, a building with a quiet but unsettling history. Long before it became a care facility, the property reportedly served as a private infirmary in the early 1900s, taking in patients who were considered too difficult for hospitals at the time. Several former staff members have claimed that deaths were frequent, poorly documented, and often handled during overnight hours to avoid upsetting residents. Over the years, rumors spread about certain rooms being avoided by night nurses, especially those on the upper floors. At around 3 a.m. one morning, this happened.
Oh, I know where that's at.
We have left God's past to follow our own. The sins of us all. I can't think of any better reason to do the next good thing today, so let's pass on. I'm Alex in this reverse of the day and positive, encouraging K-Love.
We work with a lot of dead people.
What makes this moment disturbing is where the man recording was standing. Before the radio started blaring, he was directly below the room and didn't hear a single footstep above him. So, who turned it on? At first, staff tried to brush it off as a one-time glitch, but about an hour later, it happened again.
Dude, no. 'Cause no. Dude, no.
Oh, hell no. It turned on again? You're lying.
And someone had to turn the dial all the way the other way for it to be doing this. I don't know what's going on.
Again this time, there were no signs of anyone entering or leaving the room. Months later, after a string of more subtle occurrences, doors found unlocked, lights switched on in empty rooms, the faint sound of movement in halls long after residents were asleep, the man experienced something far more unsettling. Listen closely.
I am hearing shit. And it sounds like me. Oh my god, this place. I don't think it's Caleb. Hello.
Different words can be heard clearly. Phrases like, "What are you doing?" And then, as he stood on the stairs, a voice saying, "She's coming." In places like retirement homes, where residents, nurses, and night staff move quietly through dim corridors, some believe spirits linger, attached to routines, rooms, or even specific people. So what's the case here? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. His next stop was the children's room, a space filled with old, unsettling dolls. The last time Ian was here, this section of the house left him more shaken than any other. This time, he carefully scanned the room, trying to see if anything or anyone was present.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Holy moly. I'm not alone. I am not alone in here. Okay, just calm down. Let's take a look.
What makes this moment especially disturbing is that just moments earlier, Ian had clearly seen the bear sitting completely still beneath the chair. As if that wasn't enough, just as Ian prepares to leave the room and move on to the next section of the house, something else happens.
Look in that room with the cursed painting again. I don't know. Oh, what the? That sounds like jiggling, like a doorknob. Who's in here? The hairs on my arm are standing on end right now. I literally heard like a jiggling sound. It sounded like a doorknob. I don't know. Was it this one? Did you just jiggle this doorknob? Maybe it was one of the dressers. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. I can hear it. It is coming from the closet. Look at that. That thing is moving. I can hear that clear as day. Why are you jiggling that doorknob? Are you in the closet? Just trying to keep my camera on it in case it moves. Look at it. Dude, it is moving. Do you hear that? Look at it. Oh. Is there someone behind this? There's gotta be someone. Look at that, dude. You can literally see it moving. Dude, the door is moving. Oh my god. Oh, jeez Louise. That door is shaking.
The closet doorknob began rattling violently on its own, as if someone was standing just on the other side, trying to get out. This wasn't the sound of settling wood or a loose latch. The movement was forceful. Children's rooms are often said to be hotspots in haunted locations, not because of the children themselves, but because spirits are believed to use toys and familiar objects to provoke attention or fear. And in this case, it feels less like playful activity and more like something reacting to Ian's presence. The question is, was whatever moved the bear the same thing trying to get out of that closet, or something else entirely? This investigation is far from over. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following video, a woman was simply recording what should have been a peaceful moment. A waterfall deep in Brazil, surrounded by nature. Nothing unusual, just a calm scene meant to capture the beauty of the place. But her camera caught something else. Watch closely.
Domingo, curtindo uma cachoeira em Rio de Janeiro. Reparem o visual na mata. Agora o melhor de tudo é essa queda d'água. Muita água. Muita força. Uhul! Ih, caraca! Uma coisa ali. Caraca, apareceu um cara ali no meio da água. Mozinho! Mozinho, você viu o cara no meio da água? Caraca! Ali, mozinho!
For just a brief moment, a dark, shadowy figure appears to rise from within the waterfall itself, before suddenly vanishing back into the rushing falls as if it was never there. Viewers have slowed the footage frame by frame, and the shape is hard to ignore. To this day, no clear explanation has been able to fully account for what was captured. Some believe this could be a jinn, entities said to inhabit wild, untouched places like forests, rivers, and waterfalls, especially in parts of the world where such stories have existed for centuries. Others suggest it may be a duende, a folkloric being often linked to natural environments in South America. There are also those who think it could be something even stranger, a being briefly slipping through from another dimension, visible only for seconds before disappearing. Skeptics argue shadows, water flow, or camera artifacts. But what makes this clip unsettling is how distinct the figure appears and how deliberately it seems to move. So what do you think this really was? A ghost tied to the land? A jinn drawn to the water? A duende watching from the falls? Or something else entirely? Now, this next video was recorded by a man who's slowly running out of explanations. For weeks, his young son has been insisting that there's someone in the house with them. At first, it was easy to dismiss. A child's imagination, shadows on the wall, toys left in the wrong place. The father brushed it off, telling his son that whatever he thought he was seeing was all in his head. But the claims didn't stop. The boy started talking to empty corners of the room. He'd pause mid-play, stare, and wave as if someone had just passed by. Sometimes he'd laugh. Other times he'd go completely quiet, listening to something only he could hear. One night, just as they were about to go to sleep, the boy became visibly unsettled. Have a look.
बैठा हुआ है? कौन बैठा हुआ है? यही मैं बाहर चला गया। कौन है? कौन है? कैसा दिखता है? इसको बुलाओ, इधर बुलाओ इसको। बुलाओ इसको। अबे कहाँ क्या है यहाँ पे? कुछ भी तो नहीं है, क्यों अर्थ कर रहा है? मैंने अकेले सोना होता है। मत बुलाओ इसको, इससे बात करें। इसको बुलाओ, उसको मुझे बात करनी है तुमसे। है लड़की है लड़का है? ये जिससे बात कर रहे हो, ये लड़की है कि लड़का है?
Watching the footage back, the father still wasn't sure what to make of it. He couldn't see anything obvious, so he shared the video online, hoping that maybe someone else would notice what he couldn't. Because at this point, the situation was starting to bother him, not just because of what his son claimed to see, but because of how consistent those claims had become. Many people say you should never tell a child they're lying when they insist they see something, especially when their fear doesn't fade and their reactions don't change. Some believe children are more sensitive to things adults no longer notice. So what do you see in the video? And more importantly, how should he handle it the next time his son says he's still here? In November 2019, a young man decided to explore an abandoned 22-story building and livestream the experience. At first, everything felt routine. Dark hallways, peeling paint, the usual eerie silence that comes with places long forgotten. But things changed when he reached the 10th floor. As he angled his camera down the stairwell for just a moment, it looked like someone dressed in black was moving up the stairs toward him. Not walking, but climbing at an unnaturally fast pace. Have a look. At first glance, you might think it's just another person, but based on the distance covered in about 7 seconds, that's an extreme speed. Even trained athletes would struggle to move that fast in a confined stairwell. And then there's the sound. As the figure approaches, a low, aggressive growling can be heard in the audio. Later, people claim that his phone was found higher up the stairwell, still recording, even though the man himself was nowhere nearby. Eventually, he was confirmed to be physically safe, but according to those who spoke with him afterward, he was too shaken to give a clear explanation of what happened inside that building. So, what do you think really happened? A terrifying misunderstanding or something far worse? Let me know your thoughts on this one. In this next video, Kyle, someone who's already dealt with one strange incident after another, is still trying to figure out what, if anything, connects all of it. Just when things seemed to calm down and the activity finally stopped, a new puzzle surfaced. Listen closely.
Listen to this and tell me if you hear a kid running around inside my attic. You hear that? Things have been quiet for like weeks now, and then all of a sudden it's just a ruckus in the attic, like constant. Listen. Isn't that wild? It sounds like a kid is running around up there. And I promise I do not have a child in my attic. It's just crazy. Yeah, things have been really quiet lately. I thought maybe it had all stopped. That's why I haven't been posting. But I guess we're back with a vengeance in 2026.
What makes this unsettling is how much it sounds like children running back and forth inside his attic. What makes it worse is the timing. Kyle says he'd finally had several quiet days. No disturbances, no strange sounds, nothing to suggest whatever had been bothering him was still around. He started to believe the activity had passed, that maybe it really was over. And then this happens. Some believe that when things go quiet, it isn't because whatever's there is gone, but because it's waiting. Others speculate that attic spaces often act as focal points, places where sounds manifest more clearly, or where something chooses to stay out of sight. Kyle is hoping this was a one-off incident, but after everything he's already experienced, it's not something he's willing to bet on. Now, in this next clip, Nate is home alone when he notices something peeking out from his basement. At first, it's subtle, easy to dismiss as shadows or his eyes playing tricks on him. But the feeling sticks with him long enough that he decides to grab his camera and record. This is what he captured.
Guys, check it out. Something was peeking. Right out. From the basement. I wanted to see if we can catch it. The end of it. But it was like right by the bed. What the fuck? This has been the third morning in a row. Like clockwork. I might have to look back, but it might be around the same times as well. I don't understand. There's nothing. And then I was hearing steps coming down those stairs, but there's nothing. Guys. I don't know, guys. Maybe we can try to... What? What's that?
Forget whatever was peeking out for a moment. What immediately unsettles viewers is the whispering. Some people claim they can make out words, while others say it's just incoherent murmuring. What makes this harder to ignore is that Nate says the peeking hadn't been a one-time thing. He claims it's been happening almost every morning for several days, always from the same spot. But one night, Nate is home watching a game when he notices the peeking again. This time, it didn't just peek. Watch closely.
Alright guys, please tell me you saw. Whatever keeps peeking out from there. Did it. I'm literally just sitting here watching the game. Wife will be home in about a half hour, so I was just waiting with the pup. And I saw... Nothing. Nothing, like always. Never anything. Nothing down there. Just bags of returnables. And hoodies. What the fuck? least it's not a knife, I guess. Jesus Christ.
Now objects are being thrown. The energy feels different, more aggressive, more urgent. But once again, what disturbs people the most is the whispering. Viewers who compared both clips say it sounds like the same voice from the first video. There's a theory circulating online that whatever is in the house may be the spirit of a woman, something trapped, unable to move on, attempting to communicate the only way it knows how. Some believe the whispers aren't meant to frighten, but to get attention. Others strongly disagree, arguing that throwing objects and hiding in shadows isn't a cry for help, it's a warning. But until Nate provides more updates, there's no way to know which interpretation is right. So for now, this case remains unsolved.